The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, WCSL Cherville Gastonia.
Hello, this is Milton Baker inviting you to listen to NASCAR Racing right here on WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM, and KTCBroadcasting.com.
Only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
Good afternoon. At the very start of the exact part of the show, Tom Centofanti walks in like that's this walk-up music, Hunter. Mr. Reinhardt is in the house, I guess, as we say. But good afternoon, everybody. 2 o'clock shop this afternoon, 2:03. Tom, we've got a new setup for you.
Man,
Put him on.
I like this.
Tom, I can't hear you over there.
Oh,
John, I have.
Can you hear?
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Look at this. Wow. All right.
Tom, I was getting the hang of it.
So what Tom's looking at, folks, you can see for all of our KTC doubters who talk about our NASCAR drivers, I've set up a PlayStation 3 NASCAR game, and we're going to try to keep them on the track as much as we can. Hunter, Tom, if you can tell, there's a little splatter on Hunter's windshield. There is no rain.
Good.
There is no rain at the track, so that is Hunter driving through the grass there in Atlanta is what that was. So
I did it on purpose.
good,
I drove through the grass on purpose.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kevin Hastings. Tom Centofanti's in the house. Hunter Yancey. I didn't get the green shirt memo, but we're still ready to rock. Tom, you can start anytime you want. That right paddle is your go. The left paddle is your brake. Anytime you want to take a spin. Yep. Yeah, you can see Tommy revving it up, getting going, scraping the wall a little bit, started. But good afternoon, everybody. Shock Joxx, KTC Broadcasting. I got to get Andre down here on he's already torn up the hood in the first turn. That's the hood been up. It is Kyle Petty's car, so it's used to getting wrecked. I could have signed you up for Danica Patrick. It's a 2009 game, Hunter, so it's a little dated, but it's still the same. Tom's running some laps here in Atlanta.
Tom's just enjoying himself, just crashing the thing. You can't do that in the BMW, can you?
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
I haven't played PlayStation 3 in about 20 years.
You can't drive the ultimate driving experience for cheap, Tom.
No. That looks like fun, though. I think I'd have some late night, get some adult beverages.
No, that is not what you want to do.
I promise. You think nachos. You can no drinking and PlayStation?
No, you will not do good. Tom, just imagine there's 40 other cars on the track right now going by you at a 170.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now we can change up the view a little bit. That view is really hard from the driver's views.
I was getting it.
Hunter was getting used to it. That's what the driver's view. So listen to the podcast. You're obviously not seeing us play a little NASCAR around the track. I might take a couple laps here in just a minute and show the guys how to wheel it around the course a little bit.
I said this car is not really responding to what I'm telling him to do.
It's got a little bit of an input lag.
Do you need to talk to your
That's
talk to
what
your
it
crew
is.
chief
I
about,
tell you,
about the setup?
that 600 just wouldn't end. I tell you, gosh almighty.
Well, yeah, that's the reason I don't ever go to that race. I made the mistake of
I
going
went to
one
it
time,
once.
and
Yeah, I
was
went to
like,
it
that
once.
was stupid.
I went to it once. It just takes forever.
It does. 600 miles. Even the drivers, they talk about it. They'll tell you how insane that long it really is, and it's
Coca-Cola 500 would be just fine.
Well, Tom, you also have.
I would just go whenever I would go. I would
That's
just
not
go
the
to
point.
the
It's
All-Star
supposed
race.
to be the crown jewel,
Okay.
the longest race in the world.
Okay.
And so that's the
It's
idea.
too damn long.
However, you did have, I think, 4 different drivers lead over 80 laps. So
Yeah.
you lead 80 laps of a race. Hunter, you're usually going to do pretty well.
Well, the
but,
question is are they even going to get leg 2 in the night with the storm
with the rain,
coming
what is the weather report? I'm gonna run down and check the.
It's supposed to be bad.
Yeah, because it's coming off the tropical storm that just hit South Carolina, so we're
But
going to have
A lot
storms.
of it is going to stay to the east. I mean, I don't know how far.
Yeah, but even still, any kind of rain that comes into the area, it's
Yeah.
really not going to be that pretty. We can
Yeah.
look at the weather for good old Charlotte, North Carolina. Landfall of Tropical Storm Bertha. That was a tropical storm on South Carolina coast. And the way it looks is that, there's still going to be rain in the Charlotte area, or at least rolling to the Charlotte area. Let us look exactly the forecast for Charlotte, North Carolina. Tom, do you think you could get your feel for that? If we let you take it for the spin for maybe another couple laps, you can continue to do that. Everybody that's watching us on Facebook, he's now back on the track and he's ready and willing. So it looks like for Charlotte tonight, it is today 100% rain. Tonight 100% rain. So I guess it's just all in question.
Oh.
It's all in question about whether or not the leg in Charlotte is going to happen tonight or not.
Honestly, Hunter, I have no idea how the race even got in the other night. At my house before the race in Kings Mountain, I'm just right up. I'm on 85. Basically, it's and so is the Speedway. It rained for 4 straight hours, and they're out there doing the national anthem and getting ready. I'm like, what state are they in? Where are they at? I mean,
It's been staged. It's a setup.
It was Forrest Gump raining sideways on me for a little bit, and is that view a little easier, Tom?
I think my car is not responding.
I think
so.
Tom is just wrecking.
I need to go in and Tom, I'll go in and hit a setup for you.
Yeah.
It'll give you some on-screen pointers about when to brake and stuff like that. But right now, you just got it on the main regular. I just got to set it up on the main regular.
I think I've tore up Mr. Petty's car pretty bad.
A fun story about Kyle Petty, real quick. I know Tom might remember, or maybe not. Kyle Petty was the ladies' favorite.
Oh yeah, back when he had the long hair and all that.
Back in the '80s and stuff. And my mother in particular was a Kyle Petty fan, and Dad had went down to the track for something with the radio and some type of setup, and somehow, some way, the media guys got to take a ride on the course, not the big track, the road course the Roval that they race now. Dad rode it.
That's fun.
He said he would never do it again, and he got out, kissed the ground, and said, "Don't ask me back." No way. And he said Kyle Petty kept hitting the turns and spinning and kept saying, "You can't flip these things. Don't worry."
Yeah.
So Dad's holding on to the old whatever old shit bar they had in there. I guess the roll cage is the only thing he could hold on to in there, and he was said it was interesting. Mom was of course mad that she didn't get to ride with Kyle Petty, and he was like, they just threw it on me. They didn't call and say, "Hey, come ride with Kyle Petty." It was the media folks were over there and they got to take a spin while they were there. I'm ready for that invite, Hunter. We want to do that, don't we?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be really fun.
So this week, past few days, Saturday, of course, we had our Saturday Sports Talk. We've had all kinds of NASCAR action so far here on WCSL. We had Sunday 600. We had Xfinity racing on Monday, trucks on Tuesday, and in all of those, big-time news and events and everything going on. Let's back up. First of all, Truck Series last night, Chase Elliott wins,
Yeah, I saw that.
winning the bounty on Kyle Busch. Did you see Kyle's comments? So
No, because I saw Kyle Busch won the Xfinity race anyway. So
when we talk about grace and sportsmanship in competitors, there is none in Kyle Busch. Just there is none.
He's just a jerk.
He has poo-pooed Chase Elliott's win. He blamed his crew. Immediately after the race, he said, "I'm going back. There's gonna be some a lot of shit talking going back when I get back to the office." He said, I think they broke a piece or two, and he said, "How can you sit here for 6 weeks not do anything and break pieces?" And he said, "There's gonna be some things to talk about." And he said, "All we had was one mistake, and I lose. Now everybody's." He was so mad and jealous that he didn't win that race, Tom. Like, how someone who just a spoiled kid who expects something,
Right.
and at the last second they don't get it, and even if it's fair for someone else and they fair and square beat them, you just like seeing a team that's never lost before and they get beat, and that's how he was kind of acting. He was just blaming this guy and that guy. I'm just like, dude, you got so many wins and money and millions of dollars and family. Just who
Chill
cares if you lost the truck race?
Yeah.
that's a competitive nature.
Shit.
That's the competitive nature.
What would we say about who's the best pitcher in baseball?
Just say
Give me some.
Kershaw.
What if Kershaw
Just say Kershaw.
between starts in Major League Baseball, on his throwing day, he went to an independent league and mowed down Gastonia Grizzlies for 7 innings. So, I mean, would we say that makes him great?
Yeah.
And that's what we say about Kyle
It's a
Busch.
competitive nature.
I remember back when I used to keep up a little bit more, they would have the Winston Cup race, and then they would have the Busch race on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a few drivers that would drive in both just because they loved it. Like I remember Mark Barton used to do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A couple others used to race in both the Busch race and the Cup race. And sometimes if you had a bigger Busch race, you would get more names like we're going to drive the Busch race.
Well, it's
this
kind of,
week.
if we had fans, it's what draws the
Yeah.
fans. They're like, oh, we might not be able to go to this race tomorrow, but we can still see Kyle Busch race tonight.
a big name's going to be in the lower circuit.
I think what killed a lot of that, Tom, was also the expansion of NASCAR, as opposed to also with the fans, is that you've got a certain percentage that travel. Like, these racetracks are packed with RVs and campers, not just just people that live nearby. And when you start going to California and Vegas and Phoenix twice, whatever you're doing twice a year out there, some of those people can't afford it anymore to make the cross country trip, stay in the South. And then so like if you were going then, you say you'd drive to Talladega, you would buy tickets to every race if
Same
you're going
thing.
out of town, and then you watch it. You want to? Well, you do. I don't mind. There's a difference between seeing Kyle do it. And it's just, like I said, at one point, if you're a champion, maybe it should negate you. I would rather see the guys like Bubba Wallace doing both, the ones that aren't winning on the Cup Series doing both. That whoever's driving all the small cars, because they need the money and the time and the exposure.
I think
Kyle Busch don't need any of that.
I think Xfinity just keeps letting him do it because he is a draw. It works
yeah.
the same way in minor league baseball. If there's a player who's on a AAA stint because he's coming off of an injury and he's trying to rehab. I got the pleasure going to watch the Knights, I think it was a year or two ago, and they were playing Gwinnett. They were playing the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
And Fulton Elwich was down there rehabbing, coming off of an injury. And obviously he'd made professional starts. He was a starter at for the Atlanta Braves, and I got the opportunity. I didn't even know he was playing. I just was lucky enough that was the game that he was – his first game back coming off of rehab and off of his injury. So it's just one of those things where one of the big names is going to be there. If you can't quite go see him on the big race, let's just catch him here on the little race. Well, not even little race. I mean, still Xfinity. He races trucks too, which I think he likes racing trucks just because the trucks run a little bit different. I think he would prefer that more, because anybody that was to sit here and try and tell me that trucks have the same aerodynamic as a stock car, I'd be like, ain't no way. No, you can look at the thing. It ain't that hard to tell that they run completely different. So I think that's why he runs Truck Series as well. Is he just has a little bit more. He likes the feeling of driving the truck.
I remember when
I think this is crazy. I think that NASCAR should have a more. Could you say more professional Truck Series? Maybe like one or two races where the
I
Like
remember
Hendricks
when
and them will have a truck run,
when
and it's like Jimmy and them driving the trucks.
when it first
They
came,
need to do something.
when it first came out, people like Jerry Glanville were racing. You know what I mean? It was like it was a free for all. Like if you had enough money, you could get a ride. I mean,
You get a truck.
So it's come a long way if you got your best names driving. But when it first started out, it was about the '90s, wasn't it, Kevin? Like the early '90s, mid '90s, they started the truck racing. But I remember because
Jesse's racing the truck race, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
I think he's doing a little bit of both this year, truck and Xfinity.
I mean, the crossover is fine. Like I said, I just don't like the big names. You know, if you've won, I would.
But
just
would you like keeping it on the NASCAR Cup level, like the Monster Energy, if they had those racers driving a truck maybe once or twice a year?
right? Like that's fine with me. Like say,
I'm talking like the whole.
right. But,
Yeah, Monster.
but I would limit to hey, you got 3 races. You got to do 2 races or 3 races or 5 races, whatever it is, to where they could get them in each level. Say if Kyle wants to race those, yeah, you got 5 limit, and he raises his 10. And that's what he would do. But then, of course, you'd say get Jimmy. I think the last race Jimmy ran in Infinity actually might have won, or the truck race, one of the two.
I'm talking keep the truck series as its own series, keep Xfinity as its own
Right.
series, but I'm talking the Monster Cup, Monster Energy Racing. All of the guys at the
It's
Cup
not
level.
Monster anymore.
It's not.
It's
Who's
NASCAR. It's just NASCAR Cup.
NASCAR Cup? Okay, Monster was last year.
Right.
So whatever. Everybody
it
on
would always be Winston Cup. to
It
me.
changes all the time. I remember back when it was the Bush series, like Bush series. I remember that. But I'm talking like everybody at the NASCAR Cup level, all the racers driving the truck for 1 week, one
Oh,
or
you're just
2
talking
weekends.
about, like,
yeah, I'm talking at the like.
Kick all the other guys
Yeah.
out. Poor guys.
No, I'm not. They can still race their truck series, but
Oh, do a different.
yeah,
a different
like
race.
you know how the
I got
Roval is obviously different.
you. Yeah.
Have them one weekend, whether it's at Charlotte, Atlanta, wherever you want to run it. Have everybody at the Cup level run it in a truck.
Where's
I think it would be interesting.
Where's the next? Are they going to Atlanta next?
They're in Charlotte tonight.
I know,
and
Charlotte
then,
tonight, yeah.
Is it
They're
Bristol?
doing it. I think.
I think it's Bristol.
They're going to stay in the southeast for right now.
Right. Let me make sure. I'm about
easy
90%.
travel.
Yeah, and then
It is Bristol next
Were
week.
they
and
talking
then
about-
Atlanta, and then Martinsville.
were they talking about a Rockingham race?
That it was discussed, but it hasn't. It didn't develop in that
And-
nature
and-
because you got to remember the guys that own the bigger tracks. They don't want to give up their track dates, so there's a couple of things they got to work.
So that's
out.
why they're doing this Saturday, Wednesday thing, whatever, or Sunday.
Because the same
Wednesday.
guy that say owns the track in California owns the one in Charlotte. They just take their Charlotte race, put it.
Oh, I see.
And he keeps his money.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they don't have any gate money, so I guess he don't keep. So he gets some of the money. I guess
He gets
whatever
some TV
sponsorship-
money or
Yeah, whatever it is, something. So yeah, this week will be, and they're not doing doubles. The some of these weeks. So what they're doing the doubles to catch up for the weeks they missed. But after this week and the next few weeks, that there's not going to be any doubles. We're going to get back to weekend racing. We've got Wednesday here in Charlotte, 208 laps, 310 miles times through half the Coca-Cola. So the Coca-Cola 600 used to make a joke, and people used to all the time. You watch first 20-something laps and take a nap and do whatever. I watched a movie with my kids. I took a shower, and there was something else I did during between the first 100 and the last 100 laps. And I just kept. And what I do in that situation, I'll check my phone between that just to make sure Johnson don't wreck, and so I don't come back and pissed. And I just walked out. But there you can do different things during that 600-mile race. It's so long. Bristol next Sunday, the Food City 500. And then the next Sunday after that, they'll head to Atlanta, and then it's the regular schedule right from then on out. For the most part, Atlanta, Martinsville, Miami, of course, is replacing. I think that's a Chicagoland date. Talladega, Pocono, and Pocono gets 2. So Pocono will have a
Saturday, Wednesday deal.
no. Actually, that can't be right. It says Saturday, Sunday. I don't think they would do back-to-back days, but maybe they will because they don't want to come back down from the Poconos or stay up there for 3 days. Maybe they are. I've got a Saturday, Sunday date, the 27th and 28th, and then Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, back into regular schedule after that.
Pocono, everybody used to blow their engine or transmission because that track's weird.
It's the tricky triangle. I raced it the other night. there's two long, pretty much straightaways. The third corner is the hardest. You have to slow down the most. The first two you can get by with maybe one brake and let off the gas a little bit, but the third corner you got to slow down probably 40 miles per hour. So that's the one that if you don't take the right angle coming around turn 2, you're like, I'm gonna get hung out to dry, either outside or in. Something's gonna happen if you don't take that right. So, Jimmy's done well. Pocono's been different. They put restrictor plates on them one year and they ran around like Talladega, 2 cars at a time, and nobody liked that at all at Pocono. But you can pull away and get away from your folks. But you know the cautions will catch everybody up and back into the Xfinity race where we get into the 600. Kyle Busch wins in an Appalachian State Mountaineers car.
I wonder how much they paid for that.
And then the very next day, App announces the closure of some team sports. And what I was told or what I've seen, Hunter, is that App supposedly didn't pay for that. And that Gibbs has a daughter or someone, I think, at App or something like that, and they worked something out.
Whatever.
They worked something out. Whatever smoke the administration's blowing on that.
Right.
One. It just goes back to what we said over and over again, that the money seems to go to all these executives, and we can't have programs for kids anymore. Which, I've said many times that I think that participating in the athletic program is part of your education, and they're taking that away from kids. And
to me, it's
ridiculous.
If it's a team sport that has scholarships involved, you're taking opportunities away from kids to go and get an education, which, to me, of course, I was very upset with one of them because it was the men's soccer program in Appalachian. That's just tough. I know it's probably going to come to multiple other schools, but when you look at it, I can't believe at all that they just put Appalachian State on this car for nothing.
Let's get to that in just a little bit.
If I'm not mistaken, what I was reading is they were cutting these teams from Appalachian to save. I think they said it was $5 million. It
wasn't much.
I was about to say
It wasn't
no way that's $5 million you're trying to save for cross country men's tennis. The most expensive one would have been men's soccer, but even then, that's.
You don't spend a whole lot of money.
You don't spend a whole lot of money on that.
We're going to get.
They don't even spend $1 million probably on their baseball program.
That's why.
I've got all that stuff, and we're going to go through that just a little bit, guys. Hold on, let's finish the racing
But we're still on the race.
I know, but you're going to mess up my. When I go in here and cut my videos,
an Appalachian State vehicle.
You're going to mess up my video cuts, changing subjects.
UNC Charlotte messed up by not jumping on Kyle Busch first, saying, "Look, you're right here near the campus. Let's try and bring in some crowd." Appalachian State saw the moment and said,
they got enough kids. They got to beg people to go up there. We got enough kids at Charlotte.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with
if
having
universities
to
are going to use this platform as advertising, why wouldn't UNC
Tom, some
Charlotte
people
have
ain't
done
Boone tough, and we don't want you up there. That's just the facts of life.
Boone tough.
Boone tough.
Hunter, some people are Boone tough. Some people play co-ed water polo.
My cousin is in this chat, and he said he has 2 grandsons that are up there.
Yeah.
App.
Well,
App still probably paid money, Bradley. That's all I'm going to say. Nobody just puts a huge decal on there for free.
Sure they do. What are you talking about?
On Kyle Busch's car?
On Kyle Busch's car.
I'm trying to see what it said.
J.D. Gibbs.
It's not saying. From what I'm getting, it's that they just put it on it. But we'll.
Whatever.
Yeah, Hunter doesn't buy that at all.
I don't buy that people just do stuff for free, especially like that. When even at the Xfinity level, you still get paid for sponsorships.
Yeah, nobody does anything for free because if they're
come on now, Joe Gibbs. I was born in the early morning, so let me tell you something. I wasn't born last night, and I say that because Joe Gibbs is a businessman, and even though it might just be that his grandsons do go there, but he could have put a small decal if he wanted to just do that to pay homage to Appalachian State, a small decal on it. He didn't have to paint the whole damn car Appalachian State.
All right.
Put the big A right there on the hood for the world to see.
I've got some notes on what happened with this. So apparently, someone's asked.
Someone said, "Is it a violation?"
Someone's asking, "Is it a
NCAA
violation?" Which is not. But somebody did answer the question kind of appropriately. So, do you remember last year's only loss for Appalachian? Georgia Southern on Halloween. Last year in that game, Mars Candy Company sponsored that game, and with the M&M's company, which is what Kyle Busch drives.
Mm-hmm.
So in whatever the word is,
Conclusion?
Whatever.
They are no, I know.
In
conjunction.
There you go.
I had to think about it.
Big words, Jesus.
They were in cahoots together. Mars and App.
Anyway, in conjunction with the M&M folks, App had them they gave out 10,000 pounds of candy in Boone that night. Did M&M's, and App allowed them to park the car up there for show and all that. So it's part of a football trade sponsor with M&M's and the football team. So this was all about M&M's. M&M's paid for it, basically.
Well, let's say somebody paid for it.
Instead of putting M&M on their car,
they put
the App State logo as a trade for the candy.
To give out candy.
For 10,000 pounds of candy.
That don't seem like an even trade, putting just the logo on there for 10,000 pounds of candy. So I'm going to tell you something. There was probably something a little bit under the table.
Somebody said, this is some Karen shit.
Yeah.
Trying to snitch on them about their NCAA
I'm not going to say,
violation.
I don't think it's an NCAA violation.
They can sponsor whatever. They can buy a billboard, can't you?
Yeah.
How many schools buy billboards, Tom?
How many
There's
times
a
when you're
Western
driving
Carolina
up to
giant
Boone?
billboard in Kings Mountain.
I was gonna say, how many times you driving up to Boone and you pass just ready for football season, Appalachian State football?
It says Boone Tough is what it says.
Well,
TUFF, by the way, if you want to know how that's spelled.
I mean, schools advertise all the time. I mean, if you watch a game on ESPN, every other commercial is a commercial for one of the two teams playing.
Well,
right?
especially if you're watching college athletics.
The tie that people were trying to put in is that Gibbs' kids played for the football team, so it was a contribution to the football team. Is what they were trying to say.
His grandkids.
Yeah, grandsons, obviously. That's what the Karens of the world, the NASCAR Karens, were trying to say, Hunter.
With all the shady stuff going on, we're arguing about this. It's
Yep, that's the one thing we're worried about, Tom.
dumb.
Look, I'm just saying. It's not a good look optically for you to have your name plastered all over NASCAR and cut three men's programs. That's all I'm trying to point out is
that was bad.
Optically, it don't look good, especially when you put out the statement it's to save $5 million, and we'll talk about what their endowment is when we get to it a little bit later.
So did they have like some kind of big rescue program that they start a GoFundMe to save the programs or anything like they did at Bowling Green?
Nobody cares about that up there.
But they care about the school.
Oh, right. But the Bowling Green was the baseball alums that did that.
So Bowling Green is going to have baseball because they raised money.
That's not what they said.
Oh.
Just because they raise the money doesn't mean the school's going to reinstate
Accept the money and run the program. So that tells you.
Oh, okay.
Tom, you know all this is about. Management's not going to fire themselves.
Yeah.
So they cut the lowest of the lows as far as their money spending goes, and instead of firing a president here or a chancellor there or whatever, that's how pretty much it's going to go with that. All right, so Elliott won the Truck Series. Kyle Busch won the Xfinity. Coca-Cola 600 was quite interesting. Hamlin starts the 600 in the pits after using his weights basically on the back of his car. His ballast came out the back of the car.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Crew chief engineer, and somebody else part of it. 3 folks in his group has been suspended for 4 races. One of the good news for him, one of his main engineers, because of the reduction in crew at the track, wasn't there, so he didn't get suspended. So he gets to be the guy that actually runs it, one of the main guys. So they got a saving grace from that, luckily. Jimmy finished second. Then he was suspended, or he was eliminated, disqualified. The setup in his rear, from what I'm seeing, was where going in, obviously he passed inspection, but coming out, whether he was hit in the back or backed into something, hit something, his suspension from what I've seen was off, and they disqualified him. So anyway, the winner, in the Coca-Cola 600, of course. I just went blank. I was just rolling down reading the starters. Who won the 600? Real quick.
I ain't got a clue.
I'm an idiot.
I don't remember.
There's the button.
No, the Kozlowski won.
Yes, Brad. Ooh,
hate to admit him. I didn't watch the race.
I was about to say, was you the ones that picked Brad?
No, I picked Blaney.
How is it?
Blaney ran pretty good.
Well.
How is it that I remember and you two didn't remember going?
I went totally blank.
Tom, I
on
literally
that.
just told you I didn't watch the race.
I was thinking,
but you've had 3 days to find out who won, Hunter.
Yeah.
Tom, I am not a NASCAR fan.
But you had 3 days. You know you're going to come in to do this show.
Because I've seen
You're
it
gonna come in
enough.
to
What
do
other
this show,
sports
you're
have you been
supposed to
busy
know.
watching, Hunter?
If you didn't like history, you still study for the answers to the
Listen,
test.
I have been
That's a
studying.
very good point.
I have been studying the NHL's proposal, the NBA's multiple proposals, and the MLB proposals.
Okay.
I have been
So
reading
Hunter's gonna
thoroughly on
Hunter's
this.
going to break down the financial proposals in a minute. Chase Elliott ended up second, Blaney third because of the Johnson disqualification, Kyle Busch fourth, Kevin Harvick fifth. Now, the starting lineup grid for tonight, the 600, William Byron's on the pole with a 300, whatever they want to call it. I don't know the exact name of it. Alex Bowman second, Michael McDowell, the 34 car, and the 21 of Denabito from Wood Brothers is on the second row. John Hunter Nemechek got lost, and he's in starting fifth. I think they did a inversion of the first 20, is how they do it. Eric Almirola sixth, Dylan seventh, down into the 20th place. Yeah, that's what it was, Keselowski. So those are it's the reverse order of the top 20. And then 21 on out start where
So
they
basically,
finish.
anybody up front, don't pick.
So for the second race in a row, basically, Jimmy's starting. Well, no, he started at the front this week. So the second Wednesday in a row, Jimmy's
Maybe in
starting
the
dead
back.
last.
Yeah.
But this is Charlotte. He's obviously good at the track, and he should make his way on up through. The thing is, if it was the 600 starting at the back, I'd say he has no problem. You got 600 miles. The 300 starting at the back,
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
That's a sprint.
He can win it, but he ain't going to get to lead till the last 30 laps or so. His crew chief, which I've been a little critical of, hasn't taken any chances hardly this year to get track position.
He knows it's Jimmy's final year. He's going to have somebody new.
It's almost like he's riding it a lot of, hey, let's just get this spot. Let's get this spot. He's like he's coaching safe. You know what I mean? In Ontario, I guess he's coaching like Shanahan and the Falcons. They didn't throw the bomb deep when they were up 28-3 instead of running it. So I think that was their problem. They did throw the bomb deep instead of running it. Wasn't it the Falcons?
Yeah.
All I know is that Super Bowl loss was Matt Ryan's fault.
Yeah,
As Terry would say. As Terry would say. Yeah, that was. Yeah, just to sum that up,
It's
if you
Matt
don't
Ryan's
remember, they took their foot off the gas, even with the Patriots gaining a lot of steam.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, the whole night, Sunday, he stayed in third, fourth, fifth, somewhere around in there. It took him all night to get to eighth. He stayed in that area. He didn't have the best top three car, I don't think. And he just ran there all night because he's so good. He had a really good car, not a top car, and then he ended up, of course, getting disqualified there. So Charlotte is one of his better tracks. But Byron, the Hendricks are 1-2 and 40th, basically. Let's see who are the other guys is going to be starting for Hendricks. Chase Elliott will be starting 19th. So isn't that crazy, Tom, the way they did this? The difference between having the pole. If you're 20th in the race, you got the pole. If you're 21st in the race, you're 21st.
That's weird. That is weird.
No, they should have at least done a random draw. What do you think?
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Because wouldn't you have, if you were in, if you were 19th coming in the last lap, wouldn't you let the guy in 20th pass
It's
you?
strange
So
that
you
they
get to
do
pole?
it that way when
Not enough time to
you've
qualify.
got
basically.
if you're not leaving the track, you're racing back to back. Why do you not just have one qualifying lap like in between? Like you're already at the track.
You talking about on
I'm
Sunday
talking for
night? At
no,
1 o'clock in the
not
morning?
Sunday night. Maybe
Oh.
Monday. Monday,
well,
like
what-
during the day or Tuesday, because you're already at the track. You're not leaving. It's not like you're done racing there and we're going to the next track. As of right now, how the schedule is set up, you're at the same track for 2 days. But really,
not
almost
anymore.
4 days.
After a day.
Well, after today,
It's not a concern.
if they get it in,
It's not a concern.
if they get it
anymore.
in, if the rain comes,
I'm excited about watching a race tonight at home. Primetime racing. During the week. Where's
I'm glad
Barkley
that
at? Where's
you.
Charles Barkley at?
I'm glad
Needy?
you are excited.
What
for
time's
that.
the race? 6?
7.
I don't think they're going to get
Did y'all did check
I've
the weather?
looked
Did
at the
y'all say y'all
weather. It's
checked
coming off of the tropical storm that hit South Carolina. We'll see. It's 100% rain throughout the rest of the day. Sounds like somebody's outside mowing right now, so it ain't raining. Because trust me,
Well,
I've mowed in the
that's
rain,
true.
and that sucks.
That's true. Nobody must be outside. I mean, it's not raining outside right now. We got all our windows closed here on KTC. I'm gonna see if I can take a quick lap in Atlanta.
That's pretty good. He didn't hit the wall. What are those little red circles on the back of the car for?
I don't see red circles on the back of the car. What's he talking about? It might be dirt.
Yeah.
See that black line, Tom?
Yeah.
That's what the line you're supposed to follow. So when you get off of it, you let off the gas or hit the brake and then get back on it. That's the rubber.
Oh.
That's the rubber that the guys are laying down on the track.
We were not meant to drive a NASCAR.
And when you hear the guys talking
Those
off,
red circles right there. See them? See the red circles?
It might just be stickers, Tom. I mean, there's stickers all over the car.
and when you
I mean, there's stickers all over the thing. Decals, whatever you want to call it.
So this is Wells Fargo sponsored the car before, they got in all the trouble.
This is what they were doing with the people's money. Putting it towards NASCAR sponsors.
honestly, the fastest I can get up to it before I hit the wall here in a second. Scraping 185. Did I get to 185?
See, there they are again. See?
Tom, why are you just...
There's 3 circles.
were
I see what he's talking about.
Yeah, they're just stickers.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I don't know what
Do you see them better in the dark? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah.
When I go down in the shade, they're on there the whole time.
Okay.
So you see them better when I get down into
Yep. See it right
into
there
the
in the right-hand corner.
into the shade. So that's how you got guys. I thought y'all were making it hard hitting all them walls. Now when you put the 40 cars out here, it gets a little.
I would expect it,
It
to
gets
be
a
a
little
little bit...
tough.
I expect it to be a little bit tricky. You don't just have the whole... the whole lane to just swerve across.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing when you get in the races is that keeping it from hitting the guy beside you. I mean, it is so hard, especially when you hit these turns. You see how far. I'm all over the track. There's a guy beside me. I didn't hit him. So
I'd bump and grind the cars everywhere.
It's so touch and go.
Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me.
So when I race with my kids and everything, what we'll do is I take the full damage off, just have cosmetic damage, and that's what we got on now. So it's not really messing your tires up or anything. It's just showing you got
Tom was over there saying that something's wrong with the car. You just wrecking it.
I know, Tom. Yeah, there's something wrong with it. Danica Centofanti was driving.
Get a grip.
There.
Get a grip. Go out, listen. I'll give you 15 minutes to go practice in your BMW really quick, then come right back, and you'll be well. Then practicing what you got.
There ain't no heated.
It's got a steering wheel.
There ain't no heated seats on the racetrack, is there?
No heated.
Well, they are heated. About 100 degrees, probably.
It's blazing hot. Blazing hot.
That was fun. I did better than I thought it was at first. When it took off, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a little slick." But
this has now become a video game stream. You have all fallen for it.
You've all been tricked.
You've all been tricked.
Well, the reason I pull it up is Hunter. Is that there's a lot of people that poo-poo the NASCAR folks, and I can do that. I drive down the street at 60 miles per hour with my air conditioning on, listening to KTC on the radio. That's the same thing as what Keselowski did on Sunday, wasn't it? He drove.
I think he had a cold one.
He drove from 6 o'clock to past midnight, and at 175 miles per hour. And folks, how many times do you get out of the car when you go to the beach, and you're going 60 miles per hour, and that's a 4-hour trip that he just drove for 6 hours in the same car?
I think when I went to Super Bowl Media Day for us, when the Rams and Patriots were there in Atlanta, it was 3.5 hours there, and I only stopped once. But even then,
how did you do that with a girl?
Huh?
How did you do that with a girl in the car?
We had Carson's girlfriend. We just did.
That's amazing.
We just did. We stopped for
Was she threatened to hold it?
Chick-fil-A. No. We stopped for Chick-fil-A, and that seriously was a 14-hour day because it was 3.5 there and obviously 3.5 back. It was exactly that amount, and then we were there obviously covering the media day for 7 hours. So it was a 14-hour. That was a long day, but yeah, I only had one stop in 3.5 hours. I'll tell you what, that was tough. That was just because I wanted to get there. I said, once we get there, everything else can go out the window. But we have got to get there.
Is that My internet isn't working on the stream. That's what I was on a minute ago. Or is that you? That's not you, is it?
It's not me. Nope.
Well, that's weird. I mean, that's exactly what I was working on. Do I need to reset something here?
I don't know.
Well, either way, you guys, let's get right on KTC Broadcast and listen, folks. WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM here in Cherryville, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Feel free to tweet away at us during the races, whatever. If I got it on, I'll maybe answer a comment if you got questions or something. That is kind of weird, like why that did that. But either way, all right, Hunter, let's get on the high horses real quick about this NCAA thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is time.
Said App has $100 and what million?
Appalachian State's got $122 million endowment.
That's nowhere near Furman's.
Well, exactly, but it is still $122 million. And for those of you,
I thought it'd be bigger than that.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody and their brother went to Appalachian State.
It does seem that way,
well,
but their student size is really small.
The problem,
but the endowment, that's what I was getting at, though. The endowment is donated.
The problem is, Tom, how much money are you getting from teachers?
Yeah, you're not getting a whole lot.
See, endowments, I have
where are we getting our money from? This isn't a law school. This isn't a medical school.
Definition. Endowment represent money or other financial assets that are donated to universities or colleges and are meant to be invested to grow the principal and provide additional income for future investing and expenditures.
So what's Harvard got, like $80 billion or something stupid?
Oh, they got a stupid amount. That's actually really dumb how much money Harvard has in the endowment. And so what I took from that,
$40.9 billion.
Stupid.
what I took from that,
Couldn't they, like, not even million, Hunter, like, App saving a couple million in this move.
yeah,
Harvard could literally be like, well, App could with their millions of dollars, but Harvard with $1 billion, Tom, could easily pay for all those kids at Appalachian to just come up there and go for free.
because what I'm reading and basing from this definition, it's meant to be invested to grow the principal and provide additional income for future investing expenditures. I guess that bringing students in through, the use of athletics isn't considered a way of growing the principal. That's not a future investment. I understand. Because, look, I'm just saying, if they thought they were going to save $5 million on those three programs, which I guarantee they just put that number out because there's no way. Cross country, men's tennis, and men's soccer all cost $5 million to take care of.
It's
out of $122 million?
It's a troubling trend. I mean, that's the thing with me. I mean, it just seems like like I keep saying, the money doesn't go to where it's supposed to go. We're supposed to be developing kids and things like that, and that's not where it goes. It goes to paying executives and presidents and people.
Because I want you to think about this. They'll cut that. Well, they'll cut athletic programs so fast, and then you go to UNC Charlotte, and they're building all sorts of other buildings. It's like, did you really need that third science building? You've already got 2 double-decker science buildings down there. You really think you're getting that many students that you need a third that's going to cost you probably $1.5 million anyways to build?
It's just, I just hope
because that's what they
changes.
were doing. I remember when I was down there in 2014, I was going to Central Piedmont, but I lived across from the UNC Charlotte campus. All it was construction. They were trying to widen the campus, have more buildings on there, more dorms. They were upgrading dorms and they'll spend all sorts of money there, which, let's just say, this is probably actually below the mark, but let's say they spend $1 million to build a new science facility at UNC Charlotte. So you're going to spend $1 million on a building, but you won't spend, let's just say, the men's soccer team. But that probably doesn't even take $100,000 to keep up with.
I'm sure it takes more than
It
that.
probably does, just based off scholarships.
Yeah.
I would bet
but then again, how many scholarships are? Because remember,
giving money from one department to the other. The payment probably in soccer heists is the coach, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it would be the coach.
And the travel expenses in the Sun Belt. You think about it, if you're in Boone, you don't live near an airport. So if you're going to travel by air, you have to charter a bus to Charlotte, an hour and a half away, and then fly out. So
could you not fly? Well, I guess Greensboro wouldn't be close to Boone, would it?
Charlotte's closest.
Asheville.
It's 90.
Asheville's a good ways.
No, it's through the mountains down the Parkway. It's not a 70-mile-per-hour drive. You know what I mean? It's
as the crow flies. It's not
the
far.
teams come to Charlotte and drive straight up 421.
But that's just the thing that bugs me is you're taking opportunities away from kids to go to the school. You know, so what if it's on a cross?
Now they're not kicking those kids out of school.
No, they're not kicking them out. But if they are there on an athletic scholarship, and then they're going to be asked to pay out of pocket after that, it's probably going to force them to look at a financial reason. But because athletics for a lot of people, that's their way out. You know, that's their way to even get to a university. I'm not picking at anybody, but you know good and well if some athletes didn't have baseball, basketball, or football, they probably wouldn't have gone to college. They would have just went and got a job. There's nothing wrong with that. I didn't go straight out to a 4-year university. There's nothing wrong with it. But if there's a life-changing opportunity that comes with those scholarships in the athletic programs, I'm not saying men's tennis gets a lot of scholarships. I'm not saying their cross-country gets a lot of scholarships. Their soccer program probably doesn't even get a lot because even basketball doesn't have a whole lot of scholarships that they can just give out. So, but that gave maybe 5 kids the opportunity to go to a bigger university, maybe to get a better education. Yeah. And I'm not gonna take this moment to poo-poo on going to community college. If that's the route you want to go, I think it's fantastic. And even if it's a smaller school, like compare Appalachian State to Catawba College. Sure, size-wise they're completely different, but you can still get a good education at Catawba. But it's like for that kid, if they're talented enough, because Appalachian still is a Division I school for athletics, and in soccer they're Division I as well. You have the opportunity to go and show your skill set at the Division I level, or you might have to settle for a Division II, Division III school that's going to offer you not even a full. That's not even a half scholarship.
That's the thing. This is a Division I school dropping programs. I mean, that's kind of what surprises me.
They have. I think I read you have to have 17 programs. And I think they were at 21 maybe. And so they're actually cutting, or 22, and they're cutting back to get closer to that number. The surprising thing, we can talk about the sports specifically if you had to cut, which is, me and Tom's probably on the same page. I don't even want to discuss really why you're having to cut because it's all BS for the first part. Like, we all know it's BS. But if you are going to cut sports, my contention is all schools shouldn't have all sports. That's the way it goes. Some schools have hockey. Most up north they have hockey. Down south they don't have hockey. So for tennis, just being up there, the only good time to play tennis is basically May through September, and I don't think that's the tennis season. Does anybody know the college tennis? I was sure it's not during the spring.
Sports start in February,
right? And you can't do that in Boone. So the tennis guys. So if you're a tennis recruit, like. And you like to play outside in the heat. That's what tennis is. It's outside sport. Why would you go to Appalachian other than that's the only people that offered you a scholarship, maybe? The indoor track team is weird in the fact that you're not really cutting people for the most part because all those people are on the track team. Now, what's weird about them cutting that in particular program, other than saving expenses is what they're doing, is that particular team was actually very successful. I think they had won 19 conference championships in 30 years. The indoor track team was, I remember that being kind of,
I've noticed, too, that a lot of indoor track teams, they've got multi-sport students that play.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, football players are also on the indoor track team. It's
almost like a preseason training thing, and I think that's probably one of the reasons they cut that. Now, the men's soccer doesn't really make sense to me at all because the cost can't be that much.
No.
You already have bought the nets. Mm-hmm. How much is new balls?
$20.
Jerseys. The freshman freshman parking folks can pay for the soccer program with no problem.
Oh yeah, what you're charging for parking?
Just the lot alone could pay for the soccer program.
They're not getting rid of the whole program. They're keeping the girls. That means you got to have the facilities. You got to maintain.
Right.
I mean,
that's
so what expenses
understand.
are they then?
Yeah,
if you're getting rid of the girls and not the men's, they don't use different size balls, do they?
No.
Okay.
It's not like basketball.
So then the only expenses you're cutting is
do they use
travel costs.
I can go ahead and they don't use a different field size. Men and women both are on the same field size. They don't use smaller nets. No. They use the same nets. Use the same ball. Only thing that's different, uniforms. That's it.
If they would have said baseball, I would not have been surprised at all. The program up there is just it's practice time. So for the most part, you're getting your practice in. If they play in the spring, you can't practice except indoors for 3 or 4 months. The fall ball team is extremely important, where you start playing as soon as you come in school. And I went out for a couple of days on this. You go out there and they take the roster. So if they got 25 guys on the roster, they let 15 to 20 other guys walk in so you can scrimmage and play. And so I actually found out about it late, so I got signed up 2 days late. I only ran out there for 3 days, so I didn't make the fall practice team. 2 other guys I knew did, and another guy didn't. He just wasn't good enough, but that's why he didn't make it. But the other 2 guys did make the fall team and played with the guys, and it was just weird. The whole setup. They got a new field since I left. Anyway, it's really nice.
The baseball field. I was gonna say the baseball field. The infield's turf. It's very nice. They got nice. I mean, that'd be a very nice stadium, and nobody's playing.
When I first got there, you wouldn't believe where the field was originally. Well, when I first got there, my friend from high school that was 2 years older than me, when he first got there, it was down near the creek, and they redid the whole creek, took out the baseball field, and put a creek and made it like a park like type thing. Then they moved the baseball field at the back of one of the of the parking lot there above the football field. Then they turned that into an indoor practice facility for the softball and the soccer players.
And see,
So
that's
the baseball
another
got
thing
moved
too.
up higher up the mountain. So the baseball field is actually, I think, on top of the mountain up there where the chancellor sits.
That's another thing too, is these universities will not waste any money when it comes to building new training facilities for their other programs. Yeah. Does the football program really need a $2.5 million indoor training facility? You can't just do a little pop-up thing like they did for the Panthers for a little while outside?
So the way they did it at
NC State's is probably the nicest one I've seen in the state.
The way they did it app to try to screw the kids into paying for it / using it, they built the kids a new rec center.
Oh, yeah.
And then so there's like 3 or 4 other gyms on campus. Mm-hmm. They closed all of those down and turned those into athlete-only gyms. So they sent so the students were going to 3 or 4 different gyms on campus, and they tried to force them all into one.
Then let the athletes have like their own personal workout places.
All the other personal gyms. So there was a big fight and argument about like that.
It's just
people wanting to do their exercise.
If you just look at it optic-wise, and you're like, there's no sense that any of these programs really should be cut. Maybe the smaller programs, like if there's a water polo team, Tom, I'm sorry, you're not.
Water polo is pretty awesome.
I do. I'm in. I'm like, I don't have to be sold on playing it.
Pretty
Shut
awesome.
up. Shut up, Kevin.
It's in the Olympics, Hunter.
I do not
it's in the
have
Olympics.
to be sold.
Water polo is in the Olympics.
I guess the one
It's
that really.
co-ed water polo in the Olympics.
I believe it is.
That's the thing.
Isn't it?
I don't think.
I don't think so, Tom.
I
don't think so, Tom. I don't know. To me, just.
But the girls don't wear bikinis.
I was
in the Olympics,
just so upset that I saw that they cut the soccer program, and it's because obviously I know how large that sport as a whole is. It's the fastest growing sport in the United States, and it's the largest sport in the world. And you just cut, and you made a good point. They cut the men's program. They didn't cut the women's program.
I don't think it's an Olympic. I typed in co-ed water polo, and here's what came up. San Diego intramurals, Yale intramurals. So, Tom, did you scrimmage Yale?
No, we weren't on the traveling.
You weren't
team.
on the club team.
You weren't on the
club team.
Not the club team.
No.
North Springs Athletics, West Valley Water Polo.
Because if anything, if you want to go off of just straight success that a team has had, why would you not cut Appalachian State's men basketball? That has been horrible.
You're not going to cut basketball.
Yeah, I know you're not. But if it came down to, it's not off of success.
They got the nicest building in the place.
They do have the nicest building in the place. The one thing they won't have the
Appalachian
moneymaker.
has more seats. Think about this real quick. More seats in their basketball gym than Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Yeah, but that's just because Duke wants to keep it that way.
Think about how much Duke's shitting their fans.
Duke.
Well.
If Duke wanted to, they could build a 20,000
Why have they
seat.
not? Why have they not?
Because they
I
pocket
guess
that money.
When Krzyzewski dies, they will.
Nah. If they do, it'd be Coach K Arena.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been like I can't believe they hadn't done it yet. Considering Dean Smith,
It's
has
already
one
Coach
named
K's
after him.
floor.
Yeah. Well, Dean, it was the Dean Dome when Dean was still alive.
Yeah, the Smith Center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He fought tooth and nail against that, and the school told him they didn't care what he said. The Duke endowment is a private
It's,
school.
I was gonna say, I don't think they'll make that one public.
It
but
has
it's gonna be
awarded
high.
more than $4 billion in grants since its inception, but it won't tell you.
Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, this whole segment is to just
here it
say,
is.
pull the.
University endowment 2019. It says university endowment rises to $8.6 billion in Duke. They can afford a new stadium.
'Cause
Think about just we said these billions, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry World
Right.
was what, $2 billion or $1 billion? It was $1 billion. So the Duke,
Yeah, it was $1 billion.
Duke could build 8 Jerry
Jerry
Worlds,
Worlds.
and they're gonna and they want to cut a
That's what we're getting
A
at,
tennis
folks.
program.
Peel the bullshit off your eyes and realize it's all lies.
I mean,
It's all a joke.
yeah.
How much? I wish I could pull up the tweet
Tom,
again. The guy that said they were looking to save like
Tom,
$5
last
million.
year, if your company made $800 million, and this year your company makes $400 million, how much did your company lose?
So if my company made $400 million this year,
Right,
and $100 million last year,
800 million
800 last year, and this year
you didn't lose any. You
Right.
actually still made $400 million.
right. So the Major League Baseball guys made $10 billion last year in revenue.
Right.
And this is part of what we're talking about is so as an owner, they tell the players all the time, well, we get more money because we accept the risk. Well, isn't this the risk? Same with the presidents and everybody else. What's the endowment for? What's the rainy day fund for?
That's what I said.
If
I
you're
said-
not using it for the rainy day
I know I
fund.
said that last week, but I'm like, damn, this sure seems like a rainy day. I mean, if you're going to have to cut athletic programs, I mean, it seems like a rainy day.
The baseball owners and the college presidents are doing a lot of the same.
I mean,
thing
let's
with
think
this.
about it. Are high school programs cutting athletic programs right now?
They might.
Well,
They might.
Might have
if you're going to talk about
Hadn't
places
yet.
that really are struggling with money, I mean, I'm seeing colleges who are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year cutting athletic programs before high school programs are cutting theirs.
If you want to get back to Jerry World was supposed to cost $650 million. Ended up costing $1.1 billion.
Yeah, Jerry had to have all the bells and whistles. That's just how it works.
And the TV screen that the punters used to hit. I don't know if they still hit it. The punters hit that screen.
I think only 2 guys have hit it. They try to hit it in warm-ups. What they hit.
okay.
They try to hit it in warm-ups. We had a punter. I think it was McBriar that he would grace it about every.
It's just
every other
unfortunate for
time.
the students that are there on those athletic scholarships that you might be working out right now. Just think about it. When you're college athletics, it's actually basically a full-time job, whether or not you're on full scholarship or not. You have to do everything else that other athletes are doing right now. Wake up, go. You got 6 o'clock weightlifting. Then in soccer, it's like cross country because you're running anyways to stay in shape. And
I'm gonna
those
be
guys are
cynical.
getting all prepared, and then it's like, sorry, like next year it's not gonna happen. Like,
I'm gonna be cynical for a minute.
go ahead.
I'm told all the time by Shannon and Terry that the education is the most important thing. Now the guys don't have to go to practice. Isn't that better for them?
Bullshit.
I told you I was going to be
I've
a little
always
cynical on that.
I've always maintained that the participation in the athletic program is definitely part of your education.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, it forces. Well,
is that
for a
not-
lot of them, it forces them to have to try in class, or else they lose scholarship.
And plus, it makes, if you do it right, it'll make you a better person. It's supposed to.
Yeah, we don't always work that way, Tom.
No, it doesn't. But I think more often than
Ask
not, it
OJ
does.
about that. All right.
Well, okay, that's the exception, not the rule. Not all of them become murderers.
And some of them hide it like Ray Lewis,
Yeah.
right? All right, so let's before we go into any of the baseball or anything else, a lot of things come across today. I don't know, Tom, if you noticed about the high school situation. Q Tucker gave her
I saw her
info
on
and
the
speech.
news.
I'm
Yeah.
going to run through some of the tweets and notes just to give you guys some heads up ideas and what's going on. Let's see.
June 15th is the date right now for athletes, right? June 15th, possibility to return.
Guidelines from the Yancey, the Athletic Association, are minimum standards, so schools have to follow them. Only thing they can do is make them more stringent, whatever that means. God, let me get. Jeez, there's a lot of tweets about this.
In other words,
Lot
if
of
we say you can have 10, then the school can say, well, we're only going to have 5. They can
Okay.
do that.
Let's see. Tucker explains the dead period has been extended to June 15th. The board is working to finalize plans to return to activities. The board has plans and guidance in the works already to return to play, but that is evolving. The goal is to limit the spread, blah, blah. That's a doing. Let's see. She says, I'm going to skip over some of her rhetoric talking about the stuff. She's realized it will not be possible to prevent everyone from getting the coronavirus. She says state associations do not exist to fund athletic departments, but the Athletic Association has been able to provide some money every July and August. And we've went through the money, what they provide. The Athletic Association 2 years ago took in $9.5 million, and they provided $600,000 in scholarships. $9 million, they provided $600,000. They spent $3.5 million on 19 people's salaries. So yeah, they do a lot. Like, wouldn't this be a good time for the athletic the schools to say, just screw off, let's do our own thing, like form our own?
Wouldn't bother me.
Like you don't have to be a member of the North Carolina Athletic Association. There's no rule that says that.
No, like Pinnacle's not.
School athletic departments will take a serious financial hit, she said. She said not having any funds in the stands for football would really be tough for schools. My biggest thing, I guess, see if you guys agree, I would say, especially, this isn't the NFL, Major League Baseball, or pros. Don't tell me the fans and parents can't sit in the stands, but the kids can tackle each other. Like, you mean me and Hunter can't sit here and watch our kids 5 feet away from each other, but our kids can tackle each other? Then after the game, we'll hug our kids who just hugged this other kid who just hugged this other parent. Like, nothing is consistent. That's what's so aggravating about it all. Let's see.
They're going to have to make up their minds what they want to do. They're either going to have to cancel it or let it go.
Look, because everybody probably feels so pressed right now and there's still a lot of uncertainty, it's going to sound crazy. I would just cancel athletics maybe for the rest of the year and use the time to then come up with a solution for in the future.
What would be the problem?
Because or else you're always going to have people just throwing it out here and being like, but I don't know. We're going to have to tweak it a little bit. It's like, look, just take the time to work it out and say, no athletics this year. We're going to implement this next year.
As soon as one kid gets it or somebody something, they're going to be in an overreaction to what happened. So,
I mean,
do you see any problems in playing
report.
football in the spring? Just wait.
I don't see any problem with it. I mean, but what you're going to run into is the personnel-wise. I mean, Berger's already on TV talking about cutting teachers. And if you cut teachers, you cut coaches, you lose people. So I don't know how, like, if you go in the springtime and say that one guy, well, he coached the soccer team in the fall and the baseball team in the spring. That does happen, or he's on staff.
Right, absolutely.
You're going to run into some of that, and then that's going to make it tough. And unless they might open it up to say we're going to make it a little looser on community coaches, but, it could be hard to find coaches from the community because of the hours. You start practice at 3:30. It's tough for people in the community to get there unless they're a school team.
Now, she's complaining about how much they've lost, Tom.
Well,
she's lost 8 to 10% of their money. So 10% of $9.5 million is $950,000, which means she still has $8.5 million.
I mean, it's just what they do at the association is just. I guess I don't want to. It just kind of ticks me
I just
off,
feel
but
like
it's
that's because I was listening on the way down here today and to Colin's show, just because that's what it's usually on at this time. And they always break away to like CNC or CNBC something news report, whatever. It's a news report. And the news report came out and said that one of like an official, I don't know if it was the FDA or it wasn't the WHO, but it was somebody that's working with to fight obviously COVID. Said, look, you're gonna have to face vaccine probably won't be ready till 2021. So if you don't want to, as Kevin always likes to point out, you don't want to have any lawyers involved. Just cancel the season and pick up next year.
Yes.
And even if you do pick, because they didn't say exactly when in 2021, but if you do want to play in the springtime in 2021, why not? Why not?
Just do what you can.
Well, now don't tell Terry this because he poo-pooed the last spring football. Okay.
I mean, I don't see what the problem is. I mean, you could do it. I mean,
I'm just picking on you, Terry. If you're listening, I'm just picking on you.
No, he's not listening. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't have any problem with spring football. It would be a little bit okay. Now you got a baseball and a football game on Friday night.
It would. You would force.
Baseball can go Tuesday, Thursday.
You would force guys that are dual
or
sports
Monday,
to really
Thursday.
have to decide.
Yeah, but they're going to be. Well, first of all, I will say nobody likes to play on Monday. Everybody hates that. So
I loved it.
Everybody hates it.
I like it because you got Saturday and Sunday off, then you can just play on Monday and not because you come back to Monday, you don't want to be at school. Now you got to go to practice. Now the coach says run. You're like, man.
We did soccer games on Monday.
We did.
Yeah.
Tuesday. We did Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I don't know if I've ever played a game on Monday. I don't know.
I think you would have to play.
Besides the Easter tournament,
somebody had to play on.
You would
Saturday.
force
Somebody play on
dual
Saturday.
athlete kids to really have to decide which one they're going to focus on if they both play at the same time. If you got a guy that plays baseball
that's a tougher
and football.
issue for the smaller schools.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, just I'm trying to think.
Because think about it, does the football coach,
if
does the football coach or the baseball coach, if the pitcher is the quarterback, really want him throwing more than what's necessary? Not to mention, if they do play and it's football, he's not going to be at practice some days because he's going to be on the bus going up to play baseball.
I'm just trying to think if I had my choices on because this would affect me a lot on what sports I would have to play. It would depend on which school I was at, Cherville or Bessemer.
Because then when do you fit basketball in?
Right. So if you're holding off on football, you're obviously holding off on basketball too.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I was at Cherville, I would have probably dropped. Are we saying all three in the spring or just football and baseball?
I'm just saying. You know
three.
what? Just stick with two. We'll just stick with football and baseball.
Yeah. So
more than likely at both those schools, I would have dropped football, because I would have seen myself having no chance of playing football other than walking on somewhere for something. I had a better chance of playing baseball in college or golf, and basketball was just fun. I had fun in basketball for the most part. Certain parts of basketball at Cherville was not fun, but playing the actual games and everything was fun. The football games, every game we played in that was competitive, I had the time of my life. When you're out there trying not to get hurt against teams as opposed to trying to win, that's the games that aren't. Hunter, let me give you an idea of who we played my senior year. Let me make sure I get these right. These teams. Now remember, I'm at Bessemer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got Lincoln,
Mm-hmm.
Maiden,
In that time, both were powerhouses.
Chase, which had two defensive ends that went D1, and they almost beat Shelby. They lost to Shelby 6-0 that year, or 2 years or a year before that. Lincoln, Maiden, Chase, Cherville, Bessemer, West Lincoln. Now those were I think that's our conference. Out of conference, we played. You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Catholic, North Gaston, 3A, Kings Mountain, and I can't remember who the other team that beat us by 90 points was. But we played nobody we had a chance of beating in those. So football, I would have been like, I don't want to get hurt.
I know
I'll
that's
do
just
something else.
I know it's just gonna be tough here because we do cover so many high school athletics. It just means springtime would be stupid
Forest
busy.
View, that's who we played. Forest View.
But just to me, just scrap it for the 2020, and not like scrap it as a whole, but move it to 2021.
I either say one or the other. Either we're playing sports, do what we do,
right?
Well,
keep clean.
What's crazy
or
thing is
wait till January, then
because this was crazy thing. College football as of right now is still planning to start on time. Majority of the conferences are planning to start on time. The only one that's in question, like vocally, is the Pac-12.
Yeah,
that's about it. That's the only one I've heard.
Well, they talked about California not going to college in the fall. I've
heard a lot of people say that.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Not that state.
Yeah,
ain't nothing in that state's going to surprise me, no matter what they say. Like, jeez.
Because I want you to think about it.
They're not locked up with the rest of the country.
Even New York and New Jersey, and New York's obviously been hit the hardest, have allowed their pro teams to go back to workouts.
Yeah, NFL is or NBA was bringing 4 or 5 into practice at a time, and they started that, and I think they're going to try to do.
The NBA is pushing to come back.
Yeah,
But the question obviously that we were just posing is, well, what do you do with high schools? And I wouldn't be surprised if and see, this is where it gets to be unfortunate.
This is my note. Okay, go ahead.
If it's not, because it's obviously not going to be, states wide. It's going to be to your own state. I could see the Midwestern states just being like, whatever. Like we're hardly even affected by it anyway, so we'll just run with it. And then the West Coast will be like, ain't no way in hell we're doing it. And then the South and especially the Northeast will probably be a little bit prominent, like, maybe, because then everybody's just on different cycles. You got these kids that are already ready to go, and if they're getting recruited out of the Midwest and the central part of the United States, they're already out. Look, we can go ahead and go to the university and start early. Like, we can enroll early, go out there and get to practices. These guys in the East they ain't even played. The West definitely ain't playing.
Some of this stuff is so silly, Hunter. All right, so here's some more Tucker stuff.
What?
All right, so realignment was going to be a thing I was going to talk about. Wouldn't it be better to now, instead of to look at, you're talking about travel cost, doing some type of realignment where you do something where you got to have 10 teams in a conference. Like, we've got to be able to go. You got to be able to not drive by 5 other schools to go play somewhere else,
and
then turn around and say we ain't got no gas money. Like, come on, that's not hard to figure out. But she said there's no change for realignment right now. The bylaws require realigning every 4 years, so it must be done this year, or membership will have to address the changing the bylaws. So they'd have to actually change their bylaws if they don't do the realignment. Temperature. This is the fun one. Temperature checks at workouts, practices, contests are one of the guidelines they're discussing. Athletic directors and superintendents have expressed concerns about how it's even possible to do temperature checks at schools with thousands of people. She said the school should go ahead and start ordering the thermometers.
I saw her interview. I'm not real. Or whatever.
I'm telling you, look, for the case of high school athletics, pick it back up in 2021. Get a plan in place, and don't feel like you have to be rushed about it.
Yeah, but
because then you will have slip ups.
You just basically told a whole class of kids they can't play.
If a player gets sick,
that's tough.
There's a discussion about whether a team should be eliminated from the game or contest if a player is ruled sick.
Well, I mean, Tom, we just gave a whole class of 2020 a free 3-month pass. Those kids that were fringe and borderline, they either failed or they passed. That was it. There was no end of grading, and there was no test. It was just, here you go. That's why I was thinking about that coming down here, because they're promoting the congratulations, class of 2020. Yeah, congratulations, okay? You didn't have to go the last 4 months and think that your whole grade was riding on the line with you if you could pass your final. Congratulations. That's the only free pass you're going to get after this, so congratulations. So I don't think I'm not that hung up over not playing in 2020 if they just push it to the springtime of 2021. Yeah. The problem is that your spring is it's more compact than your fall sports. Like, you're on a real time limit here because everybody's trying to finish stuff up by at least April or May.
You're going to have girls and boys soccer. You're going to have softball and baseball.
But look,
football.
I'll tell you what, the only thing that's going to suffer from the only thing that's going to suffer from men's and women's soccer is just the field. The field's just going to get so wore out because they more than likely want you to play 4 games in a day.
And we know how
JVs.
We know how football coaches are about that.
2 JVs but see, football, all you have to worry about is a JV and a varsity. If you were to play men's and women's soccer, because it's not like men's and women's basketball, they already play 4 games in a night. That court is not going to get worn down.
And you're also talking about practice facility, and a lot of times the soccer team and the football team, like the girls' soccer would practice for the football team.
Nah, well, that's not how it did at Bandy's. We have our own field, and nobody else sets foot on it except us.
Yeah, but that's not
the
football case at every school.
The football team tried to do that one time, and it was not good. They wanted to use our field for practice because their practice field was muddy from how bad it had rained. And I was like, so you're going to ruin our nice, pretty Bermuda grass? Act like we don't need it too? I mean, come on, man.
So Hunter went out there and put a stop to it.
Well, Hunter, you and me would have fought in high school. Well, my response would have been, the hot dogs that we sell at our games are paying for your uniform. Shut up.
Well, and I would have responded and said, actually, that's a lie. We pay for these ourselves and like the hand-me-downs you get.
Never mind. We're paying for your referees. How about that? We're paying for Tom to show up and wave his little yellow card.
The only thing that we had really that was new is a big tornado, or that wasn't a tornado. It was a huge windstorm came through and blew our bleachers over and like messed them up. So we had to get new bleachers. That was the only thing that really happened when I was there.
That was the extent of it.
Yeah, that's about it. Other than that, I mean, we just played.
So, all right. So leaving high school, real quick. Let's move real quick to some of these other sports to end the show and get and talking about them. What's going on? Major League Baseball has come back and did a change to their proposal to the players.
That was denied.
Of course, it was denied. What the players are accusing the owners of trying to do is divide the high-paid players against the low-paid players. So what they did instead, so the original proposal was you basically get paid whatever your per game is. So divide it by 162. That's what we'll do. The owners did their math, that wasn't happy with how much they were going to be making this year after making $10 billion last year. They decided to come back to the players and say, we want a different proposal than what we just agreed to. Players told them, we're not doing anything tied to revenue, and so what we're going to do is we want to do something else. They want to go with the original decision. I'm looking at the revenue pie chart, for you folks that like pie charts. Here's where the percentages of where baseball gets its money from. 19% local media, 18% is national media, 11% is Major League Baseball AM, MLB AM. What is that? Is that streaming or something?
Maybe.
Sponsorships is 9%. 11% 11% is premium seating. 20% is gate receipts. So they're losing 31% on gate receipts and premium seating, basically. And concessions is only 1% of revenues.
How can that be?
For what they charge, that's why I'd much rather. I would leave the ballpark to go eat. I promise you, I'm not paying them.
They still charge you $8 a hot dog, and it's only for 1% of their profits. So think about how much money they're just raking in on everything. If only 1% is your concession, so
I would never buy another hot dog at a
They're
ballpark.
making money.
Tom, I read that wrong. That's wrong colored green. The concessions are 6%.
That's still too low.
The 1% is postseason revenue for the players, or that they only get 1% of their yearly revenue from postseason play.
Well,
so
because
any of the teams that make postseason don't even really matter.
Yeah, none of them make. Not everybody makes the postseason anyway.
So
Makes
they're
sense.
making 20%. No, let's see, 19% of their money is off of local media. 18% is off national media. So 37% of their money is on TV and radio. So there's your base. And then sponsorships is another 9%, so that's 46%. License is 4%, so that's exactly 50% of their revenue is from media and sponsorships. So half their money is sponsorships, the other half is close to baseball related stuff. There's another 10%. 40% is close to baseball related stuff, to give you the numbers on that. So what they've come back is to say that some players will make only a percentage and some players won't. So if you want to know how much money the owners have, let's say there's 200 players total in one team's minor league system. They've come out and said that the A's they're going to stop paying their players by the week. You know how much the players get per week to be a minor league baseball player?
Oh, you mean a minor league baseball player?
$400.
What did I say? It's not.
Minor league baseball players get paid $400, and the A's have said they're not going to start paying some of their players after this month. Here's how much he's saving. If there's 200 players in their system paying each $400 a week for July and August total, that's $5,200 per player. To pay every minor leaguer, it would cost the A's only over $1 million.
Some guys are getting a $400 million contract.
The owner is worth $2 billion.
I know. Yeah.
The owner is worth $2 billion, and he's saying he won't pay his employees the $1 million for the whole system that he owes.
That's why he's a billionaire.
Think about that right there. They ain't coming out of their pockets for anything, are they?
Oh, I know.
They have. I've got $200 million in the bank. This year I expect to make 50. If I make 25, I'm cutting 25 off whatever I spent last year. And they're not going to cut. They're not cutting anything. Hey, $1 million. What percentage is that out of $2 billion? 5%? I mean, half a percentage.
It's very small because a billion is 1,000 million.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty small.
1,000,000,000.
I got it at about
divided by 1.
two. Would it even be? No,
That's
it'd be like 0.2%.
Million. Billion.
Needless to say,
0.2%.
It's not much.
0.001%.
Yeah,
Of his
0.001.
of how much money he owns. So it's less than a penny basically to every dollar. It's 1/10 of a penny to every dollar he owns. He wouldn't give back to his players, and it's not like. And those are the people that makes him the money. That's what's so silly and weird about
are they
it.
playing?
No.
But the perception is people that do that are smart, and that's why they're rich.
You're right.
And until that perception changes, it's going to.
Have you heard about the?
Well, Tom, I will say this: it's a whole lot harder to make $2 billion than to just spend $2 billion.
Have you heard
I
about
could
the
just spend it on anything.
Have you heard about the squatters in the Hamptons? What's going on there?
Oh, they're staying there and they won't leave.
The people in BRB who left the city because of the COVID, and then the governor declared
Stay home.
that you can't kick people out for rent. So everyone who moved out of the city who are renting these $1 million homes are squatting in them and living in them for free.
Where's this?
In the Hamptons, New York.
Nice.
New York. Can I explain some parts of America any better than what I just said? Think about it. The rich people in New York City who didn't want to be around all the people getting the disease moved to rich houses, expensive $1 million homes in the Hamptons to rent. Then the governor says you can't kick people out for rent, and these people decided we're squatting and we're not paying.
Imagine.
And they're already millionaires.
Yes, they're already millionaires. They're just not paying their rent to their houses.
But see, that is seen, like I said, so they'll be, they're smart for doing it. I was like,
Right.
well, there's being smart and then there's being greedy. And I just think that greed is just out of control. It's just out of control.
I was a lot. So of course, one of the folks is suing them and trying to get their money and everything because I think the story I was reading is that the folks that own that home, they use that money to pay for their kids' college.
Right.
So that they're renting that house out to pay for the kids' college, and these folks are stiffing them.
Well,
on
don't
them
worry, the kid
and
ain't at
staying
college
there,
right
and
now.
that's how I pay for my
Kid
kids.
ain't at school right now, so you really don't need that money, do you?
So here's the baseball pay cuts they're talking. And you can do whatever.
I know they
percentage
did
in
a
your head.
percentage for if you were making over a certain amount.
It's a rising scale like taxes basically. Oh, it's bad for the people who make a lot of money. If you make $560,000 a year, the minimum, you're going to get $260,000. So
You'll be all right.
you're going to get 40% of what your money you're
You'll
making.
be all right.
You'll be a
$1 million is about 40%. If you make $2 million, you get $700,000. It's about 35%. $5 million, you're getting $1.64 million. Starting to get.
You'll be fine.
That's right at 30%. At $10 million a year, you're getting 2.95. At $15 million a year, you're getting 4. At $20 million a year, you're getting $5 million. So you're getting down to 25% of your pay that you thought you were getting. And when people are like, "You'll be okay with $5 million," and that's true. But here's the thing: it's not that they're giving you $5 million. You're not getting 15. It's 75% pay cut. Like a lot of people are going back to work. But if they said on TV that everybody goes back to work in America has to take a 75% pay cut across the board, there would be some arguments about that. The $35 million, which is the top layer, that's the Mike Trout area, he would only be getting paid $7.8 million. So he's losing, I guess, if he wants to look at the owners and be like, you guys are losing 20% of your revenue, I'm losing almost 75% of mine. How is that fair? And that's what the players are saying, is that whatever you lose, your percentage should be the same for us.
but they're still looking to get a baseball season in. I don't understand why they couldn't just go, all right, this is what because you've signed this contract to play these amount of games, and there's probably an incentive that you hit if you've played this amount of games. What we're going to do is just, since you're not going to play the 162 games, how many games are we going to settle on? All right, we're looking about 80
half right now.
At about 80
I think
games, then you get paid just for 80 games. I'm sorry, that's just business, because if I sign a contract,
right, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then the owners are trying to change that to pay them less. So basically, they're wanting to pay Trout 20% of 160 instead of you get paid per game thing. And that's why the players are like, "What are you talking about? We're not getting paid We're not basically they're paying them for 40. We're trying to be getting paid for 40 games for 160.
The
games a
problem
season.
is the same thing that me and Tom have always been saying. We really just don't care about millionaires and billionaires bitching. I hate to say it, and I know what you're saying about the common person would. If we had to do that for 75% less, nobody would do it.
Yeah, but
Which,
75% less of my salary, I starve. 75% less of their salary, they'll be okay. But I mean, he does make a good point where I think the owners are asking the players to suffer disproportionately. So it doesn't change the fact I'm not interested in their squad.
I know he runs. He's been running the whole time, Kevin.
It doesn't change the fact I'm not interested in their. I'm not interested in the squad.
And here's the thing with me, if baseball players just don't want to make a big fuss about it at all, I wouldn't be surprised if the owners just said, "Fine, we're not having a season. Y'all just ain't gonna make no money."
The owners aren't going to lose money if they don't. They're better off if they don't have a season. They're not losing. They're not going to lose their actual.
Well, I'll say this:
they're not spending money on player salaries.
As unfortunate as it will be, because there won't be any baseball, but it ain't gonna hurt my feelings if it ain't a baseball season. Because the NBA is getting ready to pick right back up here, hopefully in July. Baseball will be trying to pick up at the same time, so you're going to be fighting early baseball games. Would essentially, because if the NBA comes back, they says straight postseason. Maybe a few games before and then straight postseason. So you're fighting me watching either early season baseball game, or I'm watching postseason NBA basketball.
Well,
and not only that, hockey said their season's done. As soon as they come back, it is playoffs. There are no few games that they're getting ready to play. So now you've got two. It's a mess because you're going to have 3 to 4 different sports that usually don't intertwine like this, fighting for viewership.
Well, I would say a lot of hockey guys don't watch basketball. I mean, it's kind of an acquired taste. If you're hockey, it's generally pretty ruthless.
I know, but
there's not a lot of hot basketball people that watch hockey either.
What's that?
There's not a lot of basketball people that watch
But
hockey.
I'm just putting it like this. Which out of the 3 is more exciting to watch on television? Postseason basketball, postseason hockey, or early season baseball?
Well, when you say early season baseball, it's not going to be a 162-game season. It's probably going to be a 60
Tom,
or
it's still
70
80. They're more than likely it's still going to be 80 games.
I don't know if they'll
because
get
the proposal that the Players Association just sent back, because they ixnayed what the owners just said, they said we want a longer season.
You got your baseball.
So you're gonna be wanting. They're gonna be looking at like maybe 70, 80, maybe 90 games because they want to find a way, because they want
And plus,
the players said that's a way to bring the revenue back
at least
up.
everybody's team will be playing in the hockey and the basketball. Not everybody's team's playing. So some people want to watch the playoffs, but a lot of people are like, my team's not in it. I'm not watching. Some people are.
It's just, I would much rather watch teams at the highest level compete than watch the Kansas City Royals.
Because you're a sports fan.
I'm a sports fan. And I can promise you this, as low as NASCAR is on my list, I hate to say it, baseball's that low on my list too.
Some people are a fan of their teams and their teams only. So at least with Major League Baseball, all cities will at least have something to follow.
But here's the thing too, I can be a fan of all my teams, but it takes a true fan to look everybody in the eye and say, yeah, we're not going to be good this year. I'm not even going to plan for the postseason.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you the way it is. Some people are fans of their team, and if their team's not playing, they're not real interested in what's going on.
Well, then I don't consider. Then they're just a team fan. They're not a sports fan.
Well, I have never
the fact
watched a Major League Baseball game that didn't involve the Cardinals or wasn't the World Series.
See, he's a Cardinals fan.
So I've never watched an American League Championship Series game. So Red Sox, Yankees in the playoffs. I've never seen it.
I've watched it. I watched Houston.
I won't watch it. I don't like baseball like that. I like my team.
Yeah.
I don't like it to watch.
Well, here's
it
the thing.
I'm not the person that can go to any ballpark and be like, "Hey, let's." I mean, I think in this part because I think I'm jaded from all the, you go to Legion State tournament, all these tournaments that we go to. You're just over and over in your broadcast. And you're just like, I want it to be a good broadcast.
Oh, you're baseballed
I'm
out.
to the point.
I'm telling you, I get baseballed out.
Yeah. So unless I'm pulling for a team, when it's 2 teams that I don't care for, I'm in a different zone with it. I'll
say this: regular season baseball, I might watch 1 or 2, maybe 3 Braves broadcasts full through and through, and I might want to go to 1 game. But if they're in the postseason, I'm watching every game.
Right. Well, so for the Cardinals, what I would do, I didn't buy the Major League package for it. I would never do that.
But if they get knocked out,
when they play on Sundays and Wednesday nights,
if the Braves get knocked out, I still watch the next round. But that's because I am a sports fan and I want to see teams play at the highest level. Kind of like I was saying, I don't want to sit here and watch the first 3 games of Kansas City playing Baltimore. Ew, that's just gross thinking about.
See, but what I'm trying to tell them is there are more I'm a fan of my team fans than there are I'm a fan of the sport fans.
Right.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's what I'm trying to.
But
tell
it's not going to play. That's not going to come into play when you're talking about sports for this year, because everybody is craving for content and competition so bad right now. So what if your team's not in the playoffs?
Well,
what else are you going to watch?
Like if I'm a Cleveland fan and okay, well, 2 basketball teams are playing, I don't really care about, even though it's a playoff and it's the highest level. I'm still going to watch my team. So I mean, I think that. I see what you're
going to watch
saying,
a Cleveland Indians game 2 of the season over an NBA playoff.
If you're
game.
a Cleveland fan, you're thinking like a sports fan.
But I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, and I promise you, I will not watch their second game of the season if I can watch a playoff game.
There's a ton of baseball fans that don't like basketball too, Hunter.
That's you.
I know that.
A ton of baseball fans that don't like basketball.
Listen, I'll tell you what. But you have to understand what my age is too. Okay, my generation. The kids and young adults that are my age
Should
will
think
watch.
you should pass it to Porky Pig in the corner.
We'll watch. Now I'm not talking about LeBron. We'll watch basketball and football.
LeBron's
the highlights on Snapchat.
We will watch basketball and football before we watch baseball.
Right.
Now some kids grew up that are my age. They love baseball, but I'll tell you what. It's just that demographic. You look at it. It's up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that baseball's main demographic still is. Because it's so slow,
No,
I'm going to
I'll
watch
tell you
something
what.
that's fast-paced.
I'll be cynical.
Don't be cynical.
Don't be cynical.
Well, fine, be cynical, but I'm going to shoot it down.
Y'all could tell me I'm wrong. It's because the divorce rate keeps going up and up.
No,
Baseball is
a
dad sport.
That's definitely not it.
Baseball is a
That is definitely not it.
sport. If you do not have baseball to play with your dad, who plays it? It is not. How many people play that don't?
It is definitely not because divorce rates are going up. Why the demographic is higher? I promise.
it is.
It's not because look,
When 80% of the people in the 80s were married, and then now it's closer to 50 or 40, then
would I
whatever it
much
is.
rather watch a game where there might be only 30 seconds to a minute of nothing happening, or a baseball game where within 2 or 3 minutes nothing could happen for a solid 2 to 3, maybe even 4 minutes. He's going to throw the ball, and one of 3 things is going to happen. He's either going to miss, he's going to foul it off, or he's going to put it in play. But if he misses twice in a row, what happened, really? Everybody in the infield and the outfield just stood there. The batter looked stupid because he swung and missed, and the pitcher's waiting there for the catcher to throw him the ball back. And all of us are just like...
The divorce rate trend is actually down, by the way, Kevin. Recent years.
What is it now?
It's actually gone down.
So, I've shot a hole in your cynicalness. But, nice try. I'm just telling you what it is.
There is no way it's going to
I'm just telling you how it is. Because you know this, everybody knows this, that's of the older generation. They always talk about it. We have the kids my age and my generation have attention spans of goldfish. So if nothing's happening, we can't just sit there and watch it. Basketball and football, at least something is happening within like 30 seconds of each other. Even in basketball, they only give you two different things for a timeout, a 30-second and a 60-second,
Yeah, but
and then after that it's back to the
what
game.
gets on my nerves in a basketball game is at the end when they start fouling. That just
I'm not going to say I like that.
So you like
either.
that new system they used in the All-Star game then? That would keep you from fouling?
What exactly was that?
Okay, so at the end of the third quarter, let's go to high school basketball. What's your average score at Burns?
Like 55, 60.
Okay, let's say 60s is the average score. At the end of the third quarter, whoever's leading, okay, say Burns is leading with 50 points at the end of the third quarter. You add 15 to that number. So if after 3 quarters Burns is up 50 to 40, it's first team to 65.
Oh, okay.
And you're not playing time. It's just first team to 65.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like if you're at the park, in every other form of basketball, you're not timed. You're just playing to a certain number.
Right.
That's why you don't have hack-a-shack at the park. We're not shooting free throws. We're not, I got to shoot this within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So it takes the time essence away from it. And that's what they did in the All-Star game. I think they did 24 points in the fourth quarter for them. That's not what you do in high school. But 15 points is or 20 is a good number in high school to say. So the team trailing has to score 20.
You're making it more like volleyball then, where you're trying to get to that arbitrary number.
Okay, I don't know the volleyball.
Volleyball, you get to 25.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I understand.
But it changes every game. It's not like you come in the game and say, first one to 75 tonight wins. It's at the end of the third quarter, you add 15 to 20 points to that top number. and then you have to get it. So it's not a pregame; it's end of the third quarter.
So in other words, if it's something stupid, 80-30, you still got to get the 95 to win.
Right. Okay. So that other team has to score 65.
Yeah, they want. Yeah, that.
So basically, let's say if you are blowing someone out, you're up 30 points on them, right? And you only got to get 15 for the fourth quarter. You know they're not going to get it, but you're going to still keep trying to shoot. So instead of having a fourth quarter of teams running four corners and fouling and wasting, this team's actually still shooting threes and trying to end the game.
Much more entertaining.
Well, think about it. Every game would end on a game-winning shot.
Yeah, true.
No matter what, whether you're winning by 5, 2, 10, or 15, every game would end on a game-winning shot.
But then how do we measure clutchness?
Think about, because Hunter, when I hit a 3 up 25 and I leave my hand hanging, it's clutchness.
Okay.
I actually like that. That's good. I mean, that would cut out, because at the end of a basketball game, gosh almighty, it's just the fouls.
I don't like the four corners. They're talking about shot clock for that. I'd rather the score thing, because that's the type of basketball you play in everywhere.
Yeah.
Whatever park, gym you're in, that you
but I still think high school needs a shot clock. And I'm not giving them 24. I mean, you can put it 30. You can put a 30-second shot clock up
California has done a little bit.
Whether you need it or not is different than whether it's easily
implemented.
Yes. That would, because Tom, you really sit at the scores table. Now you got to have somebody else doing the shot clock, wouldn't you?
But that's something else you got to worry about, getting yelled at like the referee.
Shot clock person.
Did
so
the
now
ball,
you got an extra student over here.
The ball hits,
boo-hoo.
The ball hits the rim, you got to restart it. The ball doesn't hit the rim.
I'm just saying, boo-hoo. God almighty.
It just he knows.
Yeah, people have never done it.
It's never ending at the scores table, is it? Coach is yelling at you. The assistant coach is yelling at you. The fans 5 feet behind you.
It's hard to find people to work the scores table.
They'll quit after the first 2 or 3 games, won't they?
Yeah, it's hard to find people.
If you can pay attention and hit a button, I think
it doesn't matter if you pay attention, hit the button. Somebody else thinks that you cheated them, and you have to listen to them. It doesn't matter whether you do. You're under the
You're cheating, Hunter.
Yeah,
babies. Damn babies.
Yeah, when you're getting paid $10 to do that game. At least when you umpire, you get paid like $80.
Hey, it's a good snow cone.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, you're right. The divorce rate is falling, but the marriage rate is falling. That's the one I was leaning towards. Is the marriage, you have less fathers. The divorce rate doesn't have anything to do with less dads. I guess not fathers.
Well, the divorce rate.
The father rate's the same number.
Unfortunately, the divorce rate a lot of time mirrors the economy, and when the economy is bad, the divorce rate drops. When the economy is good, the divorce rate's up because people can afford to get the divorce, which is really, really bad. But I've noticed that in recent trends is down. But a lot of the newer generation, they don't get married till like 30 or 40. So if you're waiting longer, then you're kind of more mature and you can work things out. Other than people in their 20s.
But a lot of people that do wait longer also don't skip the children part too.
Yeah,
a lot of women don't want to have children in their 30s. Or even 40s. I've got all the way back to 1990, Tom. Marriage rate 1990 was at 9.8%. It's dropped all the way down to 6.5. So 3% of 360 million people is 30. 10 times 3.
Tom, this is unprofessional.
About 3 million people or so.
Called unprofessional by Hunter Yancey.
I did some terrible fuzzy math on that one. Anyway,
Tom, don't get me started.
I told you I was going out on a limb with that one. Anyway,
You did go out on a limb.
That's a decent analysis, Hunter.
Because they didn't have daddies to go to the ballpark with.
It is a baseball game. Like, you can't, if you don't have anybody to throw the ball with.
Even if their dad wasn't around, they still got a grandpa.
Well, I know that. Or throw pitches. But not everyone has a healthy grandpa that can throw pitches, go get BB.
Listen,
baseball is
I'll give you an A for effort.
Baseball is a very involved sport. I would say that most baseball players that made it to a certain level had whether it's a father figure or your actual father or your dad or whoever figure, uncle, grandpa, whoever, had to have someone working with them into it. That's not a sport like in basketball. You like, Mom, buy me a ball, I'm going to go down the court and play with the guys. Like, it's just not something you practice every day at. that you could do by yourself, and that's why I was just kind of getting with on the baseball.
A for
thing.
effort.
It's kind of like you got to have the skill set to do it, and it's a unique skill set. It's like golf.
Then you got to have the practice time.
You got to have the equipment, and
You got to have the skill saw,
access
skill
to
set.
facilities.
Skill saw.
Yeah,
You need a skill
I'm
saw.
not talking good at all.
I was about to
today.
say, Kevin.
Well,
it crumbled
I even
in front
skipped
of
the
you.
word well. I'm not talking good at all. Today.
Well.
All right, Hunter. Looking at your other money things, what are the other leagues looking at and doing right now?
I haven't seen anything revenue-wise and contract-wise. The problem that a lot of teams are facing right now, or at least a lot of leagues, NHL has already said regardless, there's no season now. They've canceled the rest of the regular season, playoffs only. I think they're doing 6 teams make it, or maybe 8. 2 of them are play-in, and then there's the
Big news.
4. I can't exactly
Yeah,
remember what that
they
is.
have an unusual.
It is.
format,
It's an
yeah.
unusual format, and it's not like basketball. Basketball has got the NBA has got 2 or 3, maybe even 4 different proposals that they're having, and a lot of it comes back down to will they be able to have testing on site, and will testing be available? They have already agreed upon the majority are going to say it's going to be in a centralized location. It's probably going to be Disney in Florida at the ESPN complex in Florida. So that's probably where the NBA is going to go. Mark Cuban,
real quick, NBA. I saw that they're talking about, and I know this is just for LeBron. Have you seen the proposal about
Which
the
one?
playoffs? They're not going to split it East-West.
Oh no, yeah, top
They
16
want to do a
seeds.
total top 16 seeds. Wonder if
Top
that has anything to do with getting LeBron to the finals. They'll do anything. They'll ship everybody out of the East, then they'll ship everybody out of the West.
But haven't we been saying that for years? Though they should have always just done a top 16
That would-
because some of
right.
the lower teams in the East
But-
don't.
but
I hate
now
to tell
the
you,
reason they're
Charlotte
doing
Hornets
it-
fans, y'all don't need to be in the damn playoffs. Damian Lillard came out and said this too. He said, "Look, if we're not in contention, like if they make us play a few regular season games and we're not in contention," he said, "I'm not playing." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, don't play."
Who said that?
Damian Lillard.
Really?
That's what he said. I said, "I'm not playing." If they've got it set up to where we're not going to be in contention for playoffs, and they're only going to play like maybe 10 rest of the regular
get
season
warmed
games,
up,
yeah.
yeah.
He said, then I'm not playing, and I'm like, that's okay. Because then you might as well just look at the teams that are not going to make the playoffs and say, don't show up.
I would just
Don't show up.
I would
Your
just do-
off season starts
let's go
3
right
months
to,
ago.
Let's go right to the playoffs. I mean, they've been out 2.5 months already.
The problem.
All right, so that's where they're at right now, Tom, is just starting a 16-team playoff.
The problem is all the players want to get back into playing shape.
Which I understand them. I get it.
Because you're asking them to go literally 0 to 100.
I'm going to be
like that.
realistic for the players for a minute. And
I'm pretty sure they can get in shape.
right, well, one, they're
That or
they're
they
in
are
fairly
in
decent
shape.
shape. 2, give them 2 weeks to warm up to exercise.
I'm fine with it.
Learning the plays back. That's what you need is know where you're supposed to be.
Veteran teams
But-
like the Lakers are going to be.
But at
It's set up for
right
them.
at the end of the day, the top 3 seeds are gonna advance and go. Like
I bet
these teams are 5, 6, 7.
If
8,
they set it
complaining.
up West versus East, I could tell you who's going to make it.
The
It's going to
only-
be Milwaukee and Boston, and it's probably
Whoa,
going to be
whoa.
the Lakers and the Clippers.
New Jersey, I mean Brooklyn.
Kevin Durant says he's not coming back.
Shit,
Sorry,
that's what I
Oh, he
want.
did?
he's
what
not
I
playing.
want.
He's not coming
Durant's
back.
not coming back.
Not
I want
this
him
year.
to come back.
Not for this year.
Why wouldn't he? It'd be a great time to come back.
I guess Kyrie don't want to come back either.
Look,
It looks like LeBron's going to win it then.
No,
I'm
they're
not
not
going
being
to
the
crown him.
Clippers.
All right, if you want to crown him, crown him. I'm not crowning him. All right.
I don't want him to.
I don't know.
You know,
Got a lot of talent on that team.
on which team?
Lakers.
They got 2 good players.
They got more than that.
Name me
player?
one. Name me more
Who?
than 2.
For who?
The Lakers.
You talking? They got more than
Anthony
just,
Davis, LeBron James,
there's-
Danny
there's your
Green,
2.
Caruso,
Okay.
Dwight Howard.
They
Yeah,
got
Dwight
they got
Howard.
the goat. He's not the goat.
I'm just saying.
He's my
but
boy.
that's because
He's
I
my
know they
boy.
got Rondo. I know all the players.
like a lot of times on Friday night that the game of the week would be on, the Lakers would be on. I was like, this team's pretty good. Man.
Most teams that they show on the game of the week are one of the major market teams because they know they'll get the most viewership, even when the Knicks are sucky.
But what I'm saying, they were good too. I mean, they just weren't on TV, Hunter.
Oh,
They were-
I
they were
know.
good.
Look, regardless,
They were pretty
regardless, I don't think the Lakers win it this year, and I think it's possibly the last year LeBron can win a title. So they're probably going to make everything that they can to ensure that he at least gets there.
Guys, LeBron has been on the Lakers for 2 years, and he
I
has
saw this.
and he hasn't won a single playoff game.
Nope, he hasn't. Didn't make it last
Oh,
year.
I thought you were gonna say.
I don't know what you saw. I just made that off
Oh.
of my head, so I was like, I don't know what he's talking about.
I thought
But
you were gonna
he's
say.
been
I
there
thought
for
you were
2
gonna say what
years.
Colin said, and it was outrageous. He said, "If you want to go by the best Lakers roster ever, LeBron's on it." Even though he's like
No.
he's been there for 2 years.
No.
He's a Laker. I'm
No.
like, ain't no way in hell
At
he's
one
a Laker.
at one time, there was a team with Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on it. Come get some. Every Lakers team. there
Yeah.
was.
And not to mention, Kobe's not going anywhere. So there's
Kobe and
four
Shaq
out of your
te-
five.
Kobe and Shaq teams would kill LeBron and Anthony Davis. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right.
Regardless, the NBA is trying to come back, and I think that they're looking for a July start as well. So they're going to talk about this throughout the rest of at least halfway through June, try and get some workouts in. Facilities are already open. Most
Yeah,
states are opening back up so the players can get back in and get their workouts in. So it's all lining up very well. It's just going to come down to, is it straight postseason, and what's the postseason format, and if there's going to be testing available.
And
They're so worried about if these tests can be available.
are they going to let fans in too?
They won't do that. No, you know they won't.
They might.
They're talking during the playoffs at Disney World,
The ESPN thing.
ESPN at Disney World, Worldwide of Sports thingamajigger.
Yeah.
And doing it there, keeping everybody in that, because with Disney having and Universal shutting down their site, there's all kinds of
Hotels.
available space to put the players like that. There's plenty of space in Orlando right now for all these guys to go and stay and live.
Look,
resorts.
I will say this.
They can put them on Disney's resorts. They could house them on Disney's
I'll tell you what,
resorts.
they're-
They have trams,
Put it
buses,
blunt.
and everything, and won't never have to do anything.
Put it as blunt as I can. There's no reason the NBA should not come back. There's no reason. If it's just the testing thing, oh well. There's no reason it shouldn't come back. You've already got the perfect site that you want to put it at. No, half the year they don't even use those damn fields at the ESPN Worldwide of
Nah.
Sports in Disney. So
I've
you're,
been
you're
bombed.
putting that to use. You get all the players in centralized locations. Their families don't have to come. I know it's going to be hard, but if you're just going straight postseason, some of them are only going to be there for a weekend anyways. All right, then they're going to go home.
Or what are they going to do? 7 or 5 and 7?
They're still trying to get.
I think
sevens.
they were going to do sevens for the first.
If anything happens, they would reduce the first back to
just wish
5 like it used to.
They used to do it 5. I think 5's good for a first round
Well,
series.
in the first, I agree, Tom, because 90% of the time, I mean, your 7 and 8 seeds aren't going to win.
Yeah.
So those teams are almost wasting time, energy, even having those games.
They're giving them that extra game.
And what'll
Game
really make
4.
you mad is when they have games every night, and then the night, like say on Tuesday night, you'll have the 2 blowout games. You're like, well, there's no point in even watching this, and they spread them out.
So to me, it's
Yeah,
everything is set in place to where there should be no excuse that you can't come back. If money's an issue, then don't come back. That's how I feel about Major League Baseball. Really, at this point, if money's an issue, don't come back.
No, I think they're going to come back.
Summer is
They're-
almost halfway over anyway, so don't come back. But
Summer's
the
not
NBA,
halfway over. Just had Memorial Day.
whatever's June, right around the corner.
summer hasn't even started.
I don't.
It is
Well,
June 21st. Is the first day of summer.
Whatever.
Summer's
Whatever.
over.
June's like what? 2 months.
Yeah, it's another 3 weeks away.
That's it.
The official
Whatever.
start of summer. But
Official start.
Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer. But
Whatever. I don't.
I think
If you're fighting and bitching over it at this point, I can't. I can't
I
get with
agree
it.
with your frustration with baseball, though. I mean, it's like
I can't get with it.
I've already said, when a lot of people have suffered, a lot of people have done without, and you hear these, oh, I want my money, blah, blah. I mean, I just don't feel like it. I mean, I understand. Kevin makes a good argument that these.
I won't
owners-
dispute the argument. I'm
I
just
won't
saying.
dispute it.
I don't.
I'm not going to dispute.
I'm
it.
tired.
I
I don't care. Like when
I don't wanna hear it.
NFL players fight over contract disputes.
I
I'm
understand
like, come
everything
on,
I
man.
was saying. I just
Come
think
on.
the billionaires shouldn't keep their 1% of their money that they owe the people who they signed a contract with, and that's they should pay them what they signed.
Well,
the
if it's
contract
that, but that just comes back down to me saying, well, if they don't want to pay nobody, just don't play. Just
I
don't
see-
play.
I don't see
Shut
how-
your team down if you did it that bad.
I mean,
Like,
just don't play. Whatever. But like I was saying though, if it's just testing that they're worried about, everything should be set in stone for the NBA to come back. I don't care if they play 2 weeks of regular season or just go to the playoffs.
testing.
It should be in place.
I think they said 50% of the tests are like false positives.
Incorrect.
So in other words,
Well, I heard that about the antibodies test.
yeah, but you
Oh
but,
my
but
gosh,
you
that's what it
basically
is.
have the same odds of flipping a coin as you do taking the coronavirus test. So,
Whatever. At this point, I mean,
at this point,
forgot.
What Woj does, he's announcing today, talking about the NBA that we're on it, that they're arguing about the 16 teams, that are in it, but there's 4 Western Conference teams on the playoff bubble: Blazers, Kings, Pelicans, and Spurs, who are arguing to allow them to play themselves into the playoffs.
See, and that's where Damian Lillard was basically saying, like, if we ain't got a chance, I'm not playing.
Well, but another thing is, if you hadn't made it this by now,
oh yeah, but how many games have already played?
Suck
60,
it up, boys. I mean,
60.
yeah.
They played 60 games. Like, if it wasn't decided after game 30, I really don't care.
yeah, suck it up, boys. That's just
Hey, did you make your money this year? Did you make over 50% of the money you were supposed to make? I don't really care.
yeah, I just don't feel like listening to them cry either.
I just, the important thing is, and before we get out of here today,
The important thing is I'm racing.
is I'm trying to race here, Hunter, and you folks at home. Anyway, I was going to make another point. Fun. You got any other thing else? I got something fun I wanted to get into for a second before we left.
No, because it's going to sound repetitive, but the same old right now. Everybody's scared to do something, scared to pull the trigger, except NASCAR. Golf obviously is scheduled when they're wanting to do something.
How did you like the foursome? Did any of you watch it? I did not.
I watched Tom Brady rip his pants. I thought that was hilarious.
I'm not a fan of Peyton, Tom,
Tiger,
Phil,
or
Tiger, so I didn't really care anyway. I'm sure it was entertaining for the people that watched it, though. I didn't. Did either one of you see any?
No,
of it?
I didn't watch it in full.
Watched
I
the
watched
highlights.
but I'm gonna be honest with it. Made Tom Brady seem actually more like a human because he wasn't that great at golf. It was good to relate to him. On the football field, different story.
They do.
But
But they do have good golf swings. You can tell those guys play a lot of golf.
Phil Mickelson announced today, it was on ESPN, that he wants to start some type of a yearly series or something like this with his next people that he wants out there is Steph Curry and Michael Jordan. Is who he said him and Tiger want to get out on the course. And then both are very good.
I don't think television's
golfers.
ready to get 50-year-old Michael Jordan out there playing golf.
What they need to get is Barkley versus just like handicapped people or something. Or just something that people.
Barkley, as long as he can get that swing.
Have y'all
in.
seen?
Yes,
seen that
I've seen
before,
the swing.
haven't you?
It's
It
disgusting.
is amazing.
And he was poking fun at Tom.
He used to have like a 10 handicap.
Who's that?
Barkley. Have you ever seen that swing?
No.
It is the most god awful thing in the history of the world. It is
For
so
as
bad.
much money as he has, and he couldn't get a swing coach.
So he's a decent
he has-
golfer?
No, he used to be. You know what the yips are, right? He's got the yips in golfing, Tom. And
Yips.
the best,
Your nerves get you.
Oh.
yeah, that is a golfing term too, I guess. He's got.
I've been around golf my whole life. I never heard yips.
You never heard of
Yips
the
is
yips?
baseball.
That's
really baseball.
I was leaning towards baseball. That's the Chuck Knobloch throw it away thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So basically, he's got that, but on his golf swing, like it is. I'm gonna pull it up so Tom can see it. You folks at home can.
He hitches
as well,
so
too.
bad.
Oh, it is.
It's like 2 or 3 different motions in one. It's just bad.
Here you go, Tom. Like, and you have time to hold on. I didn't get it. Kevin's there. It is. Here you go, Tom. He's still swinging, by the way. he started a minute ago.
He's still swinging.
He started a minute ago. On
Move
this
your
swing.
cursor. You got that picture up.
Oh, people can't see that.
Look.
Maybe not. Not yet. That's a swing, Tom. He is still swinging in the golf club. There we go.
I couldn't play with that guy.
So a long time ago, believe it or not, like I said, it used to be like a 10 handicap, and then something happened. I
He
think
got fat.
I think Jordan won a bet off of him at some point, and he has to do this like for 30 years. Tom, watch this one.
Look at old Charles Barkley. Get up.
Have you ever played it for one worse than that?
No.
So when he plays these pro-ams, Tom, they have to. The people on the right side can't be there. Like they have to make sure that when Barkley comes, that they get out of the way because he's so bad.
Yeah.
That's a good swing. Did you see how smooth that was? That was a great swing from Barkley on that one. All right, Hunter. Anything else?
I believe that's it.
I'm gonna end the show with my final story of the day.
We've covered quite a bit from NASCAR. We don't know if it's going to be on tonight, just due to weather.
We hope it's on tonight.
It'll be on.
We hope
just
it's
pay
on
attention
tonight.
to the weather. We covered colleges scamming people and basically keeping them all in the dark by cutting athletic programs. We covered high school, what they could do. We've been everywhere.
Oh, you thought we were everywhere.
Oh, God.
You thought we were everywhere. But now we're about to go everywhere. Can you see my computer over there?
Not really.
Okay,
I'm really
good.
not trying, though, to read it. But
Breaking news in celebrity weddings. Y'all ready for this? Yes, no? I've been trying to
read
tell
it.
you guys this for years. Probably for months.
I've read it.
I've been telling you for months.
What's it say?
J-Lo is postponing the wedding with A-Rod, and she's heartbroken. What have I been saying on this show for months and months and
Canseco's
months?
been claiming that A-Rod slept with his wife.
Jose Canseco.
Canseco says A-Rod slept with Canseco's wife.
Right. While being with J-Lo.
A threesome?
No.
No!
That is not
just-
what I said.
Okay.
Just cheating on J-Lo.
A-Rod's cheating on J-Lo with Canseco's wife.
Okay.
Got it? So Canseco, if you follow his Twitter feed, there's a lot. There's a lot of FU A-Rods on it and things like that. And FU, he's not a fan of Alex Rodriguez. Let's put it that way. So there's a ton of tweets on here about A-Rod and J-Lo. He'll be like, "Hey, I've got pictures and videos," and he goes online telling A-Rod and all this stuff, telling them all. And so this came out yesterday that J-Lo and A-Rod are postponing their wedding right now. She's heartbroken.
Did they
over
go
it.
into detail and possibly say
No,
it
they
was
did not.
because of Corona?
They did not say any of
Well,
that.
they didn't say Corona.
They won't say why, but I know exactly why because I follow Jose Canseco, Bigfoot hunting extraordinaire, on Twitter, and I've been telling you guys. I got the news a long time ago, and it's just now coming out. You got to know who to follow, Hunter.
Jesus.
Jose Canseco. And speaking of Jose Canseco, in honor of him, I tell you what, I got him right here.
Yeah, you do have Jose
In honor
Canseco.
of Jose Canseco, Hunter.
That's before he was all juiced up.
He was never not juiced up.
I was supposed to say, that's just a figure.
There's Jose.
Yeah.
He's in the house. So Jose is going to sit right there for a minute while I talk about him. I do want to in our next few shows, Hunter, we're going to start talking about. We're going to do a starting lineup, a guy of the week. Did you have a Mount Rushmore or anything for today?
I did not have a Mount Rushmore
All right.
for the day.
Saturday, I'll be on Saturday Sports Talk. We'll be 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. as usual. I will not be here in person. However,
He's got a Skype in.
I will still be on the show. I will Skype in from the Great Smoky Mountains.
You may have a problem in your marriage if you Skype into a sports show on your anniversary retreat. You may have a problem.
You got to do it. You got to do it when she's asleep, Tom.
You may have a problem.
Hunter, after you take care of your husbandly duties,
I guess.
pay all the bills, do everything
guess.
else, you can do whatever you want.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys next time on What's Up Shoppers, Shock Jocks, KTCBroadcasting.com.
The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.